Hello, I am Ray, and this is the impact of oil prices by the numbers. So, today we are joined by Vic Demagiba, President of Laban Consumer. He served as an Undersecretary for the Department of Trade and Industry previously. Hello, Attorney Vic.
Hi, good afternoon to Rappler and congratulations to Miss Maria Reza for the
Thank you.
Nobel Peace Prize Award. Yes.
Salamat po on behalf of Rappler. So anyway, we saw that oil prices have been rising no in the past few weeks. Year-to-date adjustments actually reach a total net increase of 17.85 pesos per liter for gasoline, 16.5 pesos per liter for diesel, and 14.19 liter for per liter for kerosene. So can you tell us what's driving global prices up lately?
Okay, two things. The more fundamental thing is that more citizens around the world are getting vaccinated uh, from this pandemic, and that's good news because people can now go out from their self-imposed lockdown and going back to work and driving the economy again. Secondly, this is also the time for the OPEC or oil producing country to recover uh, revenues from a low demand of oil products in 2020. So these two main global developments are increasing the prices of crude oil, and not only the Philippines affected. Everybody, even big economies around the world, are feeling the pinch of rising oil crude prices. And statistics show that crude oil prices have increased by 60% from January 2021 year to date. I heard you mention the peso per liter impact in the Philippines, and that's very accurate. More than 17 pesos per liter for gasoline, and 15 or 16 pesos for diesel, and about 15 pesos per kerosene. So on top of that is also LPG. All of these products are driven are used by consumers, and necessarily any increases in the cost of these petroleum products are passed on to the goods, to the cost of goods and services that we consumers buy on a daily basis.
So, which sectors are likely to be most affected by the hefty price increases?
Uh, in my opinion, everybody is affected. No? But the more uh, visible group are the transport drivers because that's their job, buy gasoline every day and drive people around through the public transport system. Secondly, are those selling basic necessities and prime commodities, whether in the wet markets or in supermarkets and groceries. So let's put it simply that those selling and delivering the more basic necessities for the daily sustenance of the consumers are the one most affected by the high retail prices of oil products because by the simple rule of economics, they will just pass on the cost to the goods and services that they sell.
So, I like what you mentioned about deliveries. Ano? It's not only the transport drivers. Actually, Pasang Mazda and allied transport groups filed a petition with the LTFRB saying that they need a 3 peso increase. No, how do you
That's
make
right.
how do you make of this? Especially that you're the head of a pro-consumer group, and you mentioned earlier that actually um, if if yung mga delivery drivers would actually feel the pinch nga na umaray na sila sa taas ng presyo ng petrolyo, they might actually ask for an increase also for delivery fees, di ba?
Correct. Correct. In fact,
How do you make sense of that, sir?
yeah. In fact, I made a statement about 2 or 3 days ago that personally I'm not in favor of the fare hike because of its domino effect. As you said, riders or delivery services who only earn close to 60 or 70% of, of the cost of delivering goods from a store to your house. Uh, they are also feeling the increased cost of gasoline that they buy every day. And where will they get the increases? Hindi naman aabonohan nila yung pagka ipapasa din nila sa atin yan. So that's why as a general rule, instead of a fare hike and riders increasing their delivery services, in Laban Consumer, we offered two solutions, proposals. And I just found out that first of our proposal is also being considered in India, another country that is also severely hit by rising crude oil prices. And that is one, the suspension of the collection of the excess taxes on fuel products, which is 10 pesos for gasoline, 6 pesos for diesel and kerosene, and 3 pesos per kilo for LPG, and you add the 12% VAT. I think that is more doable, and the president, by executive order, can do that. And he can use the powers in his proclamation 1218 that extended the state of national calamity for another year till September 2022. We are not invoking the train law, the tax reform law, for this particular suggestion. I am invoking the extraordinary power of the president to provide the suspension of the collection of excise taxes. That, if done, uh, will benefit all sectors of the economy. Hindi lang drivers, hindi lang riders,
Mhm.
hindi lang mananakay, everybody. Minimum wage earners, going to work, you at least probably take two or three public transport. That's not only 3 pesos impact, That could be around
Mhm.
12 pesos one way and another 12 pesos going back home.
Mhm.
So imagine mo, 24 pesos tatanggalin mo sa minimum wage ng isang empleyado. So if you remove the excise taxes for a limited period, you are basically saving 50% on the year-to-date increases that we mentioned earlier in the program for gasoline, for diesel and kerosene. You're saving at best at 35%. Malaki na impact yon. You will now be able to mitigate or cushion whatever impact uh, retail prices of petroleum product would have on the cost of goods and services.
Okay. Attorney, you mentioned no kanina, suspending excise tax no on oil. A few days earlier, NEDA Secretary Carl Chua actually said that increases in oil prices actually within the target daw po of the DBCC. So, what can you say about that? Basically saying that they don't want to suspend
Malayo
excise
nga yung
taxes.
sagot eh. The answer is not responsive to the issue at hand. In other words, the issue is what can the government do to help consumers? You don't answer by saying you have already imputed the prices of oil in inflation. Consumers don't understand what inflation is. What they understand is what they can buy and what they eat. Even then, this is not an issue of whether we're meeting inflation or not. Whether they like it or not, it's gonna drive inflation. Whether it's within the target or not, that's another story. But I don't think that's a fair answer to a question more mundane, more practical, and more consumer friendly. What can the government do to help? It's not that, because yes, we know that oil prices will go up, and that is already within our target. And even then, I'm not an economist, but I don't think they have considered that in inflation, that crude oil prices will increase by 60% in year 2021. All of them, including Banco Central, have been saying that the GDP of the country will grow by so much before the end of the year. I don't think that's gonna happen with what is happening now in the crude oil market. Experts saying this may last till the end of the year, and winter is
Or
coming.
until
When,
early
when
next
I
year, early next year.
early
That's
winter
early
is,
next year.
yeah, winter is just around the corner for most of these countries, and they will be consuming more. in order to heat their houses. Tayo dito, we don't actually use heater to okay lang sa atin kung malamig yung panon, natural, ano. But I think they should be more practical. I think understand that consumers would need assistance. We are not proposing financial subsidy kasi kailangan mo pa ng pera, kailangan mo pang ayuda, then may bureaucracy pa. The drivers complain that yung pantawid pasada nila 2 years ago, hindi naman daw nakuha lahat yun. 20% of them only got it. So, well, mahirap. That's why we are proposing yung gobyerno, kumbaga, sila naman yung mag sikip ng sentro nila by foregoing suspension of excise taxes for a limited period. They can do it every 2 weeks kasi cyclical naman ng crude oil prices. We don't know if OPEC one of these days will say, okay, we'll pump in more crude oil in the market. So pag may crude oil, bababa ang presyo. Meantime, nandito tayo, as we speak today, ang Dubai crude oil, where we base our oil prices based on Singapore posting, is already $81 per barrel. A week ago, or 2 weeks ago, nasa $70 lang yan. So mabilis, no? Mabilis ang pagtaas. I think they should begin thinking seriously about suspending excise taxes. More practical, no? Cash out from them. Wala nga na lang silang makukolekta. But marami na naman silang nakolek billions already since 2018. If they will give financial assistance, how soon will it reach the vulnerable sector that needs it? Matagal. We know that based on experience. Hindi naman agad-agad nandiyan kaagad ang ayuda.
Correct. So you are saying basically that the president has the power to issue an executive order instead of just following what's in the train law that basically says that the target should be at
Ah,
$80 per barrel po.
$80 for 3 months. Wala na. Sabi nga namang matatanda, ano pa anin lang, ano pang aanhin ng kabayo, ano pa gagamitin ng damo kung wala na yung kabayo, something like that. So, all people will say that para pa, you wait for 3 months, the $80. Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen to all of us?
And this is in consideration of the pandemic, correct, sir?
Yes, in consideration the pandemic triggered by this world development in the prices of crude oil. Yun
Okay.
I mean, yun yung basis ng aming proposal. The second is what we are doing in the past, but we need some agencies of government to also open up their mind. Mag-reimpose ng price freeze on basic necessities like rice, meat products, vegetable, fish, canned goods, sardines, milk. Yung in-increase nilang mga suggested retail prices, i-suspend muna nila, no? Mag-price freeze din sila. Well, another 2 weeks, another 30 days, until such time na the prices of crude oil is a little. Wala pa tayo sa easing it's still going up, no? When it's above $80, something bad, you know. About first quarter of the year, I remember in our daily monitoring of Dubai crude oil, nasa $60 lang yun. Ang laki, tinas, about $20. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Okay. So aside from the oil price hike, let's look into food prices, no? Because recently, Typhoon Maring actually affected agriculture, and there are agricultural
Mm.
damages. So, which commodities do you think will likely see spikes in prices?
Rice is already going up in the market, in the wet markets, already about 38 pesos per kilo. Rice should only be trading at 32 to 34 pesos a kilo. Vegetable, because of the damages in the north, Luzon, but which severely affected the transportation of the goods to NCR, will likely also go up when it comes into NCR market. But as we experience natural calamity like typhoon, rains, after 1 week, prices will behave already. So it's more the more basic, which is rice. I think DA should seriously consider imposing a price cap or SRP for rice, whether imported or local. Ang daming imported rice, but we don't
Okay.
understand why it's still at 38 pesos per kilo. Yeah.
What about electricity prices? The
Well,
energy mix
electricity,
currently has, yeah.
yeah. Well, electricity, the the uh, the electricity prices are based on a decision issued by the ERC. There is a matrix for that, a formula, and let's take, for example, here in Luzon and NCR, the biggest utility here is Meralco. So 90% of Meralco's power are already procured based on contract. So more or
Mm-hmm.
less, when I say contract, I think medyo stable yung kanilang acquisition. Only about 10% of their power need are bought from the spot market. But even in the spot market, they are imposing a price cap. Yun nga, yun, maganda doon, you know.
Mm.
They're imposing a secondary price cap na
Secondary pricing.
if prices will go up, pag nakikita na nilang nagte-trading na yan sa about 8 pesos per kilowatt hour, mag-impose na sila ng price cap. And the secondary price cap says that you cannot sell in the spot market higher than 9 pesos per kilowatt hour. Eh, ganun naman yung rate ngayon ng Meralco contracts from their supply agreements and contracts. So, I think yung electricity, in so far as prices are concerned, there is already a formula that is already set. It's the other question of the electricity is itong nangyayari this 3 weeks due to the forced maintenance shutdown of Malampaya. Yan,
Mm-hmm.
medyo pag-aralan natin later on what impact will have that on prices of electricity because pinalitan ng mga power generation company yung natural gas with another alternative fuel.
Conventional.
So we still don't know how much are those alternative fuel compared to the cost of natural gas. So that's a good question because that could also pose a threat on a higher electricity rate for the month of October.
We have
Yeah.
yet to see. We will wait for
Bantayan
next
natin,
month to see how
bantayan,
much.
o
Opo.
bantayan natin, yan, bantayan, yan. Yes. So.
Okay. So on a larger scale, Attorney Vic, no, do you think the surge in oil prices would actually hamper the economic recovery of the country?
Uh, not, yes, I think in a way because not only the crude oil prices, let's also consider our peso to the US dollar is depreciating day to day. Ay, lumalapit tayo ngayon sa 51 pesos, no? While we have been only in around the vicinity of 49 and 50 pesos. So that's another threat, you know. I think these two things, rising crude oil prices, our peso to US dollars, I think that could, that could impact, I don't know whether the desired GDP for the rest of the year will be achieved given that businessmen have to incur more. They have to spend more to continue producing. They now have to spend more. Ang question nga yan is when you spend more, can you recover it from the cost of goods and services
Mm-hmm.
that you are selling? So, I mean, it's a cyclical. I mean, hindi tayo oil producing country. Another story pala because of the increasing crude oil prices, even alternative fuel like coal, COAL, especially in China, nag-surge din siya. Eh, most
Mm-hmm.
of our power plants are using coal. So, mamamahal din yung acquisition cost mo ng coal. So, another basis. So, I guess yung electricity, we have to guard on the impact of all these developments. But I think we have to tie our strings bantayan natin and sana wala na munang price increases sa mga basic necessities hindi naman nalulugi yung food sector let's help each other no and kaya hindi naman to calamity na pansamantala lang and tagal no and as you said this could really filter down to next year. Yeah.
Okay. So if this will last long until next year, no, what can the government do to mitigate the impact? And the public,
Uh,
maybe, sir.
Well, maybe yung mga taxes nga na hindi naman necessary, suspend it first. And I don't know if government have that extra money to give financial assistance. Again, as I said, I read India is already studying cutting taxes. Ay, yun naman kasi ang madali sa gobyerno eh. Eh, yun din naman ang issue sa atin, ang taas-taas ng mga taxes dito. Siguro, let's develop a system where those that are in the upper bracket of society, ibigyan mo na sila, they pay more taxes. But those that belong to the vulnerable sector, siguro bigyan mo ng benepisyo na ang purchases nila ay mababa o tanggalin yung mga taxes. Then you make your tax system equitable and progressive. Uh, I personally, hindi ako I'm not a fan of giving financial assistance to the people. You know, nagiging ano lang sila I mean, if they can go back to work, fine. Nasa alert 3 na yata tayo sa NCR. So, ask them to go back to work and earn. But give them some indirect assistance by way of suspending some taxes on fuel products. Yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, thank you so much, Attorney Vic de Magiba. Um, before we end, actually, no, the transport groups before, even Transport Secretary Arthur Togadi basically said that he doesn't want an increase for the minimum fare of jeepneys. No,
Mm.
other things that they are actually looking at is fuel subsidy. But you said that you don't want fuel subsidy. Can you just expound on that,
Oh,
sir?
from whom? From whom will the subsidy go? From the oil company? Don't expect that they will do that. Not not fuel subsidy. Fuel subsidy from the government. Then I said, then you have to have some funds or money to do that. So balik rin natin, doon ka na lang sa excise taxes, wag ka muna mag-collect ng excise taxes. That is a form of subsidy already.
Okay, okay. Anyway, again, thank you so much, Attorney Vic de Magiba. This is by the numbers. We talked about the impact of rising oil prices. So, for our viewers who just maybe recently joined, basically we talked about Laban Consumers' proposal. Instead of giving fuel subsidies, Attorney Vic de Magiba is basically proposing um, suspending excise taxes on oil. He said that everyone could be affected by this. Not only those who drive, not only the transport sector, but everyone, consumers even, because um, agricultural products and commodities can actually arise because of this. Delivery services could also be impacted by this. Okay, I'm just looking at comments here. Um, but I guess we have a lot of comments here, but these are actually irrelevant. So anyway, again, thank you so much, Attorney Vic,
Yeah,
for joining
thank you
us.
also to Rappler, and again, congratulations to Miss Maria Reza. We are
Yes,
proud being a Filipino. Thank you. Thank you very much.
on behalf of Rappler, thank you so much, Attorney. Okay, again, I am Aika Ray, and this is By the Numbers.